All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here. Mark P Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis. Welcome all. Let me just quickly explain how this works. I got a couple of announcements and a couple of changes today. So let's get this thing started, shall we? All right. I want to thank you all for being here. Let me just run this real quick. All right. So this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right. Next. So if you're new to the stream, welcome. Here's how this works very quickly. I'm going to run through the economic calendar first. Here, let me move this microphone just a little closer. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go over the economic calendar first very quickly. Then we're going to talk about this Bitcoin situation. Most importantly, I want to point out the environment, and perhaps we'll highlight a trade scanner trade. And then I'm going to do the Q&A. So I'm going to look to keep this at about 30 minutes, maybe go slightly more. I know some of you guys are laughing because I never get to do that, but that is my goal, okay? So I'm going to try to keep this stream at about 30 minutes. The thing is, for the Q&A session, the first thing I want to mention is I'm only going to answer questions of students or active investor members only. So if you're not a student or you're not an active investor member, I apologize, but I'm going to have to skip your question and only answer members and active investors. Okay, so I have to do that in order to keep the stream in a more timely way. All right, so next, let me just say hello to people real quick. Hold on, let me just get the right screen on here so I can see. I am simulcasting on TradingView. So again, if you'd like to share your question now in the channel, this would be a good time. Okay, hold on. And then we'll go with that. All right, there we go. All right, so again, just some quick hellos. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to share what city or what country you're from, that's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. And no, it's not a cool place to be. All right, anyway, so Steen, good to see you. Alex, all right, my moderators. Han, how are you? All right, Steen. Okay, cool. So you guys are on the Belgian border there. Nice. Yeah, so anyway, So a couple of things on that. Yeah, by the way, Alex pointed out something to me the other day. We had another imposter in my community. So trying to private message people as me, just please be aware, people. I normally don't private message people. All right. And usually they try to, like, I guess, ask you for money or something. Just please be aware. A lot of scams. I have a whole channel in my server about that, about the scams that occur on that platform. That platform really should know better. But, you know, they're too busy prioritizing cartoons and emojis and things like that. But that's what we get these days. Anyway, just please be aware of those things. All right. So let's get into the economic calendar. Armin from South Africa. All right. How are you? Hey, Howard. All right. Good to see everyone. All right. TradingView people, you know, welcome. You're welcome to say hello as well. That channel is always a little slow to catch on here. All right. So first, I want to talk about this economic calendar. Now, keep in mind something. Again, I'm going to highlight the environment. I'm going to highlight the environment through this entire stream. By the way, I do have a video up on my YouTube channel now. The first video that I've published, it's a clip from an older stream. But what we're doing is we're clipping some of my older videos, but we're cutting to basically some important points that I've made, you know, over the couple of years that I've been streaming like this, right? So it's a much easier way to get some information across without having to sit here for an hour. Make sure you check out that video. Also, my TradingView article, which I wrote the other day, again, highlighting what I'm about to highlight now. So let's jump into that. And that first thing is environment, right? Please know your environment. Part of knowing your environment is having a good grasp of how this business works. People, especially new traders, they don't bother with this information because they're only interested in being a millionaire by tomorrow, and they get sucked into all the nonsense and hype that exists in this business. You need to understand how this business works. And the first thing you really should pursue is who actually makes money in this business. You realize that like 99% of traders do not make money. And you could say, well, that's not true. There's so many people on YouTube making money. No, they're telling you they're making money, but most people don't. There's a lot of research that suggests that the majority of retail traders do not make money. So who makes money? All right, the industry, market makers, algo traders, hedge funds, institutions, banks, right? They're the ones, because obviously there's an industry, so someone's making money, and you want to understand how they make money. And they're making money off of fees. Fees come from who? Retail traders. Also, the money in your account is typically potential profit for all of these professionals. So you need to understand what you're up against. And the reason why, again, I mention this is because as a retail trader, your profit potential, right, the money that you're looking to take from the market, that is most likely coming from other retail traders. Now you can argue and say, well, in the Forex market, it's a dealer, so you're not up against other retail traders. Well, the Forex dealer is, right? So then the money that they fleece from other retail traders is the money that they have available to pay you out when you beat them or when you win on your one trade. Okay, that's how it works. So understand that if there are no retail traders in the market like now, because they're all away, this is the peak of going away, right? Vacation time. This week is the worst of the entire year is this week. Then how do you think you're going to make money? Okay, please keep that in mind. And I mention that because no matter what system you trade, chances are the follow through is going to be very limited. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what kind of hype that they're putting in front of you to get you excited. It's the same deal. If there are no retail traders, there is no money to be made. It's like going to an empty poker table. I bring up the poker analogy all the time. You don't have to be a poker player to understand this. If there's no one at the table, there's no money to be made. Okay? Professional poker players like to have full tables with a lot of amateurs or drunken tourists, as I like to call them, because that is where the profit potential comes from. This game is more of a game of chance, in my opinion, than it is a game of skill. So if it's more of a game of chance, then you want to at least participate when your chances are more in your favor. And that's not this time. No matter what you trade, okay? Because the trade scanner, let me just give you a quick example before I talk about this Bitcoin chart here. The trade scanner has called it was like 3 or 4 short trades yesterday or something like that. And I saw the Bitcoin one wasn't doing very good. And that's to be expected. Like, understand something about the trade scanner. The trade scanner is a momentum-based trend following system. That's actually what it is, which means it needs momentum. And it'll still call signals even if there is no momentum, because the way I put it together, it's looking for very particular criteria. But that criteria does not guarantee that there will be follow through or momentum, right? In order to get momentum, you need participation. And I haven't figured out a way yet to measure that part. Okay, so, look, I'm always looking to improve these things and add filters. I was thinking about turning off the trade scanner just for this week, just so that we avoid a lot of these trades that are probably going to go nowhere. So please, it's important to keep that in mind. The week before, there were a couple of good trades, but if there's no momentum in the market, it's going to be very hard no matter what system you trade. It doesn't matter what you trade. Please keep that in mind, okay? And you're only going to know that from having a good grasp of the environment and have a good grasp of how the business works. No one is going to tell you this, okay? If you notice, well, you may not notice because you may not know any real traders or any real professional, profitable traders, but I know some, and I remember back in the day when I worked in an office full of people who made money, when things were slow like this, they would leave, they would go away, they wouldn't even bother wasting their time. And I always used to think, man, these guys are crazy, they're going to miss out. And the only one that was missing out was me, because I was losing money, or it was very hard to make money. It was a complete waste of time. And that hasn't changed. Okay. So understand that, right? So now people may ask, hey, when are things going to get better again? Right? When are things going to get more? I say October, right? To get back to more normal type of activity, more normal type of follow through, frequency of trades that follow through type of thing. Understand something about volume too. Volume can be faked. Okay. If you take a moment and read the SEC complaint against Binance and Coinbase, right? I know no one's interested in that stuff because I know it's boring legal stuff, but it reveals how they do business. It reveals their business practices, right? It's very interesting because, especially in the case of Binance, what they do with these altcoins is they create a false sense of market movement, or they basically create like this activity, and it's fake, okay? But they do that to attract traders so that retail traders will trade because you think something is happening. So they can basically toss volume back and forth to each other, right? The market maker can make it look like something is going on when absolutely nothing is going on. Please keep that in mind. Okay. So anyway, so with all that rant being said, let's do the economic calendar real quick because I'm wasting time here. We got to do 30 minutes. So economic calendar. We only have one thing worth talking about this week. I'm just going to get right to it. Non-farm payrolls is Friday. There's a few other items that I saw on the schedule, but these items, chances are not going to move the market. Again, there's nothing. Everyone is away, right? So chances are movements will be very limited and very infrequent, right? So we have non-farm payrolls, which is the first Friday of the new month. That's on Friday. That has potential to move markets generally, but a lot of times it's a non-event and the market goes nowhere. But you need to be aware of non-farm payrolls. You don't want to be taking positions heavy, especially heavy, going into non-farm payrolls. That's Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that's the only thing worth mentioning. Everything else, pretty much, I wouldn't expect much from. If you want to be more aware of it, check your economic calendar. TradingView has one. All right, next, let's get into the chart, shall we? I'll make the chart bigger here. Okay. By the way, if you like the content that I'm doing here, I'll do this. Please press the like button, press the boost button over there on TradingView, press the subscribe button. Please help me out with my channel here. We have a lot of content scheduled. Okay. Right now, every Wednesday, I have a new clip coming out. So this Wednesday, there'll be a new clip popping out up on my channel. So be aware of that. You can find out by just subscribing and then you'll get a notification. So please do that. Also, click the links in the description. If you're interested in the trade scanner, all the information is there. Also, if you want to help out Stian has been doing an amazing job with the upgrades. In fact, we're going to be, the stock scanner should be running very soon. Stian, I'm going to be contacting you about that because I've almost completed my part of the deal with that. But there's a link to Bybit. Okay, again, I don't promote Bybit specifically, but it's an affiliate link. It helps them out. It helps them support the server and all that stuff. If you're looking for a broker or an exchange or whatever, just consider that. It's in the description. All right, so just make sure you take a look at that. It helps Stian, and Stian he's been doing an enormous amount of work to make for a better experience for everyone. Okay. And we're going to be doing some stuff with the trade scanner Lite. We have a whole bunch of things in the works, but it's going to take some time. So any support would be appreciated. All right. Anyway, okay. So let's move along here. Let's talk about Bitcoin now. So here's what I want to say. Look at this thing turning around. Nothing has changed since we talked about this a week ago. Right? If you read my TradingView article a week ago, nothing has changed. Let me pull this up over here. Look what we have going on. I drew this. See the squiggly line that I drew on my chart? Right? That's from a week ago. Look at the squiggly line. I drew that when Bitcoin was basically here. Okay. So how do I know? So far it's following the squiggly line. How do I know it's going to do that? I don't. I do know that markets are random. I do know that there's a good probability that a lower high will develop because why? Because of this momentum, right? Because I know momentum and I understand how markets work, and a retest of this 25K low area, right? The support area is likely. That's why I drew that squiggly line. And so far that looks like the market is following it, right? The market is respecting it. That can change, but the whole point of that squiggly line is I'm looking for the failed low or the double bottom. If I'm going to look for a long, I want to see it there. Okay. That failed low will confirm it for me for a swing trade. Now, this has nothing to do with the trade scanner. This is a completely separate strategy, but that's what I want to see. And as you can see, it takes weeks for something like that to develop. Now, I'm going to jump over here to the 4-hour chart real quick. Now, Stian, you want to pull up that Bitcoin trade? Can you just share that Bitcoin trade that came out on the trade scanner? By the way, the trade scanner calls, not only does it call a trade, it tells you the long or short and it gives you a notification price, but also it gives you a stop loss and take profit. You can thank Stian for that because he programmed all that. Okay. Before you had to figure these things out yourself. And I was trying to teach people how to use the ATR and this and that. Now you don't have to do any of that work. All you have to do is put the stop loss and take profit that it gives you. Okay. Which is based on the ATR. Now, let's take a look at this here because Bitcoin was called a short. And wow, this thing changed pretty quick, huh? This thing was looking nice and positive before. Can you put that trade in there? It also called Ethereum, which was put in the Trade Scanner Lite channel. So if you're not a free member, go to my Discord community. There's a channel called Trade Scanner Lite. It's free, and it pumped out a Litecoin, an Ethereum trade. So I wonder how that's doing. If Bitcoin is looking like this, that Ethereum trade may be green now. Or if Stian, you're not there, if someone else can put that Bitcoin trade in the channel here. So I just want to put the numbers on the chart, because this thing looks like it may, if it hasn't gotten stopped out, then it's working. But I'm curious, this may have been stopped out, because I think the original short was called over here somewhere, and this movement may have stopped it out. I just want to see the numbers. Okay, anyone else? Maybe Alex, someone want to pop it in the channel real quick? Okay. So yeah, I see some good questions here. Okay, cool. I'll get to those. Oh, Stian, he put it in TradingView. Okay, cool. Thanks, Stian. I see it now. All right, so bearish momentum short 26076. Okay, the stop is 26179. We going through that stop? Yes, we did. Well, actually, depends on when it was called. What time was this thing called? 22:21. So that, let me see on this time here. That may have been, so that trade may have been called around here 22:21. On what date was that? The 27th. Yeah, so that thing was probably called over around here somewhere. So that trade probably stopped out. Okay, I'm guessing. And that's going to happen, right? But the thing is, if it calls another trade, if we go to the 4-hour, this is the 4-hour chart, right? It may call another short, and you have this thing happening now. Again, keep in mind, like I said before, this market follow through is very limited. So you have to be very careful with these trades. A lot of times it's just not worth taking, even if it makes the call. And this is a nice example. It makes the call, it shakes you out, goes to the stop, and then it goes your way again, right? So why get involved in all that? Why not wait until there's better chance of follow through, rather than, I mean, look at this. For days, look at this. Do you think that's a market worth trying to trade? There's going to be false signals no matter what you use. There's going to be false signals in that. So the best thing to do is avoid the environment altogether. Trade less, trade smaller. There's many things you can do. Like I said, the pros would just step away, because they know no matter how good your system is, your performance is correlated to the environment, right? Ever hear a rising tide floats all boats? Ever hear that analogy? Well, that's true. If the environment is good, most systems, a lot of systems will make money. The key is recognizing when the environment isn't good, so that you can hold back on your system, even if it's a system. The advantage to using a system like this is it's going to keep you out of even the trades that you make up. A lot of people make up trades, they force trades, a lot of psychological stuff going on. The robot will help you filter all that out, because it's waiting for very specific situations. But even that situation may not work, because it's just looking for certain criteria. It can't really evaluate the chances of follow through. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Thank you for putting that. The YT chat is behind, so the trade was in profit and went to take profit. So okay. I guess based on the timestamp, right? Those times, the thing is with the timestamps, it's like a time zone thing. So it's hard for, I don't think that this chart is aligned with that time zone that the trade scanners is using. I think there's some confusion there. But anyway, okay. You know, the bot is tracking all this, right? The bot, Stian has a sheet where all these trades have been tracked. So another nice thing that he's done. Anyway, so I just wanted to throw that in there. Now, so what I want to say about this Bitcoin situation, right, before I get to your questions, is there's a lower high here. See that? There's a lower high. This lower high is a bearish structure, right? As you can see, it's in line with the squiggly. And that lower high is likely, it's possible, it's very possible to lead to a lower low. That's what the momentum structure says. And that can take a few weeks, especially in light of how this environment is. But some news can come out, an unexpected catalyst, and next thing you know, Bitcoin could be pushing this low. And people say, well, how do you know? How do you know? You don't know. Markets are random. There's no way to know. So we're basically playing probabilities. What I'm expecting, instead of trying to trade the short side, which I don't do for Bitcoin, by the way, I still don't. Instead of trying to play the short side, I'm looking at the range bound situation, because this market, as someone, I think Alex pointed out, someone pointed out, this is a range bound market. That's range bound. That's not exactly a trend on the midterm trend, or the we have long term, midterm, short term. So midterm, we can argue that that's basically range bound, right? And if this range low holds, meaning I get a double bottom, then that's a good idea, in my opinion, for a swing trade long, because chances are all these morons who short this thing here, thanks to all the misinformation that they follow, they're going to get squeezed. And we're looking at potential back at like maybe 28, 29, 30K potentially if we get a squeeze back to the range high. It's hard to believe at the moment the way things are going, but who knows? Right? Markets are random. Some new piece of information comes out. Next thing you know, we're rallying. And then you have all the 50K Bitcoin guys coming out again, telling you Bitcoin's going to 50K. How many people were telling you that before it broke 28K? So the first thing you have to embrace is markets are random. The second thing, understand your environment. So this structure says bearish, which means I'm going to be even more selective because I'm thinking about a long. I'm thinking about a long because we are at a range low inside of a consolidation, a higher low consolidation. So I should be thinking long there. If you're thinking short, you're thinking in a very ineffective way. You're shorting into a support. Now it's possible that the support breaks, okay? Because this momentum is still intact. It's possible. So what I want to see is, and only the market can answer this question, does the support break? If it breaks, I adjust my expectations. If the support holds, I'm going long, because that's what I'm interested in doing, because I'm betting on this support if the support can prove itself. If you notice, I'm letting the market tell me, and then I'm able to adjust my expectations based on what the market tells me. If the market gives me new information, I adjust my expectations. I'm not sitting here telling you that I know the future, because I know that I don't know the future. No one knows the future unless you have inside information. So that's how I'm playing this. So to answer the question, how to trade in the slowest week of the year, you can do two things. Completely stay out. Don't put on any trades, okay? Or wait for very, very particular setups. And this is the setup that I've been waiting 2 weeks for this thing, and we're still not there yet. All I know is we have support at 25K by this pin bar, and I want to see a retest, and I want to see a confirmation. It's that simple. From that point, I can then place a stop. I can place a take profit based on the expectations that come from a market being in a consolidation, right? And I tend to be more conservative, so I will use more conservative prices for that, and that's it. Now, my trade scanner may call other types of trades, because the trade scanner is zoomed in to the shorter term momentum. That's why it's calling for shorts. I mean, I think it called Matic short, it called BNB short, it called a whole bunch of shorts. All right, I don't know how those shorts are doing, but again, when it does that, just take a step back and look at the environment first. If you skip those trades because you say, well, this environment's very slow, I'd rather wait until things generally pick up. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're ultra aggressive and you say, I'll give it a try, but it gives me a hard time, I'll get out. Okay, but understand your environment first, right? So those trades, I would say chances of follow through are going to be limited. Understand your environment has a lot to do with this. Okay, let's move along here. Okay, cool. Hey, Nasir from Pakistan. Okay, cool. So let's thank you guys. Thank you over there on TradingView. Thank you. All right, so let me start jumping through some questions here. You guys cool so far? Now, again, I'm going to answer questions from students or active investors. If you're not one of those, I apologize. I'm going to have to skip the question. Come to my community. You can ask a question in the free chat. Alex has been doing an excellent job moderating the community chat. I mean, he's been putting questions in there and challenging people and giving people little exercises to think about. I mean, that's what a moderator should be doing. Thank you, Alex, for that. Again, from Romania. All right, I love Romania. So let's go through here. Okay, I'm just going through the questions. All right, okay. Guys talking about holidays. I'd like to have a holiday one of these days. Let's see here. Oh, so Steen says, all right, it went to the take profit. Okay. Well, he would know better than me because he's got the robot that's tracking everything. Soon we're going to be able to show that sheet. Okay, it's going to be on the website where you'll be able to see all the closed trades. The trades are being tracked now. We just don't have the database thing working yet. Speaking, okay, is like no one seems interested. Well, Alex, that's very interesting that you say that. And that's typical of the herd. Okay. And I've seen some YouTube videos here and there trying to start some stuff, but everyone is away and everyone kind of forgets what's going on. Everyone will become interested again when there's some kind of big move, right? Bitcoin jumps 5% or some kind of nonsense like that. You'll see everyone start getting all excited and everyone's going to be a billionaire by tomorrow again. You'll see it's the herd mentality, right? This is actually a very interesting time. In fact, Alex put a number of interesting coins, altcoins, in the community chat that he's watching for long term. And I thought that was very interesting. All right, you guys should check that out. Again, it's in the free chat over in my Discord. You could check the link in the description. You can become a free member there, and you could see what I'm talking about. But that's very interesting. Alice says BNB also reached the take profit. Wow, that's pretty good that the trade scanners are actually making some money in this lousy environment, right? Like if you're like relatively new and you're like, hey man, it's so hard. We have a tool. It's amazing to me. People just don't get it. All right, but anyway, cool. Is there any? Okay, so Alex asks this question. Alice, by the way, thank him for helping me get that video on my YouTube channel. Okay, he made that possible, and all the other videos that you're going to see, the clips that are coming, he made that possible. So thank him. All right, is there any leading indicator for a recession? Manufacturing sales, maybe? Well, Alex, so that's a good question. As far as that goes, this is where you want to consider the business cycle. Okay, there's this thing called the Pring-Turner business cycle. You can Google that. And that's really where the interest rates come into play here. Interest rates will really give you the lead on anything. The fact that rates are rising means we're looking at recessionary forces in the future. Okay, if rates turn around and rates start to pull back, and I'm talking about significantly. Let's just take a look at rates real quick. All right, and this was actually the point of my article. I hope you guys read my article yesterday. I know the other day. I know it was a little boring because I'm talking about bonds. But, there's really nothing to talk about right now. So I'm like, all right, when things get boring, I'm going to talk about bonds. So here's the 10-year note, right? Now, as you can see, let me go to the weekly chart. This is not bullish. And people will say, oh, but look at these green candles, pin bar. This thing's turning around, right? Okay, rates are going to turn around. No, you don't trade this the same way when it comes to economic information. The thing is, this is a bearish trend, right? Which means rates are in a bullish trend. Even we get a little turnaround, in order for rates to have an effect and say, okay, we have growth ahead instead of recession, we need to see a significant movement in rates. So we need to see rates going back up to here, okay? I'm showing you the inverse. This right here are the bond prices. So if I look at the 10, let me make this a little easier on everyone. Hold on a second. Let me make this a little easier. We're going to take a look at the 10-year rates. Hold on. Let me just move that. Let's go US 10Y. Okay, see this? These are the 10-year yield interest rates. What are we at? 4.2% or whatever. This is bullish. This is a weekly chart. So as long as this continues, yeah, sure, we're at a resistance right there. If this continues higher, that puts bearish pressure on everything. If this turns around and you see a support eventually get taken out, Alex, like that support gets taken out, then we can say, okay, we probably have bullish times coming. All right, that's what, because money is getting significantly cheaper at that point. Does that make sense? So keep an eye on that. That's really your tool. The bonds usually move first. It's not a one-to-one relationship. If you put the bonds, if you do the bond comparison, like on the Bitcoin chart, you'll notice that the bonds usually make the move first. Eventually, Bitcoin follows. Well, eventually everything follows. All right, so good question. Okay, Bill, TA-wise, 25K looks like a decent buy, but okay, news, okay, almost an echo bubble, similar to, there are now more trap participants, more retail. Right, so, well, Bill, it's very possible. In fact, I look at it in terms of rates, right? That's how I look at it. That's how I look at everything. And if rates continue like that, the way they're looking, then chances are Bitcoin breaks that 25K support. Like, that's why, for investing, I'm really not interested in anything, right? I stay away from stocks. I stay away from Bitcoin. I stay away from them because rates are horrendous. When rates turn around, right, we'll have some time. There'll be plenty of time to get into these things because the markets don't react right away. That's what you need to realize. So if rates continue, they make this support vulnerable. Does that make sense? So I would say at this point, there's a greater chance the support breaks. Now, it doesn't mean that it will, because I don't know. I can't assign an exact probability. But as long as bonds look like that, it puts more pressure. Chances are it breaks. That's why I'm being so selective as far as a long. Anyone that's screaming, go long, you're following an amateur, clearly, because they don't understand what's going on in the bigger picture. Okay, so thanks for pointing that out. I think it's best to not use 8-cap chart. Okay, yeah, Coinbase. I know you have a deal. Actually, I don't have a deal with them, Bill. No, it's a good point. The only reason why I use the 8-cap chart is because my analysis is on it, and I got kind of stuck using it. I don't have a deal with them, so I just need to switch back. I need to put my analysis back on, like, I used to use the Bitstamp chart, this one or whatever. I'll just put it back on there when I get to that. I'll do it. So thank you for pointing that out. I think shorting BTC is way more risky than shorting something weaker. Well, it's shorting at these levels is risky, but it depends on your time frame. Okay, short term, like day trades, there's nothing wrong with it because you're just looking for short term momentum. Okay, real quick. So I'm just going through this real quick. Okay, hey Kai, good to see you. Isn't PCE coming out on Thursday? Right, but that's like I saw something like that, but it's not that big of a deal. That's why I never mentioned it. Thank you for mentioning. So people, you should definitely always keep an eye on the economic calendar. There are some other minor events coming out. Just be aware of them, but I don't think non-farm payrolls is really going to be the major thing. Understand the environment. There's nothing going on this week, right? All the retail traders are away. Nothing is going to happen, most likely. There could be a surprise, but I would not bet on it. Okay, so I think I got through that channel there. Do I have anything over here? Okay, cool. I'm taking next 2 week off as well. Okay, Malad, okay, cool. See, even Malad, if Malad is taking off from the market, there's nothing going on here, man. Okay, so, all right. Hey, from Dijon from Slovenia. Oh, cool. Good to see you. Alice is from Slovenia also. Grayscale versus SEC lawsuit could be a bullish. Could be Grayscale versus SEC. Again, who knows, right? How that plays out. Only the market will react. But I wouldn't bet on these things. Okay. So again, I'm going to leave you guys with this. On number one, understand your environment. Understand that these things, chances are this week, you're not going to see a whole lot of movement. Number two, I do have my plan in place for my broader time frame swing trade where I want to see the failed low. Okay. If I see it, I'll be open to the idea. That's all I'm going to say. The trade scanner is going to call trades a separate way because, again, the trade scanner, like I said before, is a momentum-based trend following system. My swing trade ideas are really just my own personal system. They're not exactly trend-based momentum. They're more like contrarian type trades, right? So it's not based on the same criteria, although they can have a similar outcome at times. It depends on what the market's doing. The point is, the robot trades momentum. And if the momentum right now is still bearish, okay? The robot can't see the bigger picture. The robot can't see all of this, okay? I can. So I know how to factor that into the equation. The robot only looks at this, right? It's only looking at this, and that's all it sees. So it's making judgments based on that. The criteria that line up have to be based on that movement. So that's why the robot's calling one thing, and I may call something else. I want you to understand, what the robot sees versus what I see. Is the robot better than me? Well, I'll tell you, it's got a better performance this month. Okay, someone put in the chat, I think Stian shared like a picture of the trades this month, and the robot, if you took every trade, the robot was up like over 7% or something like that. It's better than me. And why? Because the robot has one job. It just waits for a certain thing to happen, and that's all it waits for and nothing else. And when that event occurs, It waits all day, all night. It doesn't have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't have any stress. It doesn't have any bills to pay. It just has that one job, right? And then it puts out the stop loss and the take profit, and that's it. That's what the robot does. So the one of the obstacles to the robot that I can see is that it's how do you follow this thing 24 hours a day, right? You need to. What if the robot makes a trade and you're sleeping? That can happen, right? So eventually we're talking about having the robot auto trade. We're talking about that, but that's still just in the talks. We got a long way to go before we get to that. But right now, I mean, considering a lot of the trades come out green, right? So I'm just saying, and if you want to get a sample of that, of just what the trade notification looks like, there's the, trade scanner light, which all that thing puts out is just the notification price. It doesn't put out the stop loss or take profit. We're working on that again, but that's going to take a little time. We're talking about how we're going to make some adjustments to that too. But first, we got to get the stock going. Okay. So anyway, all right, you guys, if I keep talking, I won't stop talking. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Please check the links in the description. Okay. If you have any questions, you can join my community. It's free. You can ask me questions in there. Do not send me questions on TradingView. It's a pain for me to answer those. I'm much faster response. Come to my community or send me an email at mark@markpremarkets.com. All right. So again, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching.